We don't open the salon itself on a Monday.
Okay.
So Monday is known as Education Day. So all the trainees are in on a Monday, or the apprentices are in on a Monday, with their education team, and that's solely for their education. It is an apprenticeship that an awful lot of people might kind of start.
Okay.
Do it for a couple of months, do it for a year, realise it's not as glamorous as everybody thinks it is, and then pull the legger. No, I think we have a team of nearly 30 people, and no two are the same.
Did Sean interview you, did he?
Sean, yeah, he did indeed.
Do
you remember that?
How did you find like your first day like on the job with Dylan Bradshaw? Like what was it like? You call her out now.
She won't appreciate that.
And you guys have the coffee shop downstairs. Is it just for the salon, or can anyone just off the street pop in?
There's a couple of days where on like the Mondays you'll see a hairdryer in Sean's hand. Don't look, you'll turn into stone. Like,
did any of you feel like there was a bit of a stigma around taking an apprenticeship? This week's episode, I was joined by Sean and Sam from Dylan Bradshaw Dublin to discuss their Hairstylist Apprenticeship program. Operating over 6 floors in the Dublin City Centre salon, the team there have a renowned reputation within the industry and have won over 60 awards for their work. With a steady flow of apprentices each year, it was great to get an insight into how their apprenticeship program runs. This episode was brought to you by Top Drawer Talent, the supply chain and procurement recruitment specialist. Here we go. We're back for season 2 with the guys from Dylan Bradshaw Dublin. We have Sean, who is the operations manager for Dylan Bradshaw, and Sam, who is one of the recently qualified stylists.
yeah, stylist material.
We're here obviously to discuss apprenticeships, right? So what is the apprenticeship program that you guys offer? Is it like hairstylist, or is there like nail technician apprenticeships then as well?
So the only apprenticeship program that we offer would be for hairdressing.
Okay.
It is an in-house apprenticeship.
Okay.
So most of the education and training is done in salon. We don't open the salon itself on a Monday.
Okay.
So Monday is known as Education Day. So all the trainees are in on a Monday, or the apprentices are in on a Monday, with their education team, and that's solely for their education.
Okay.
We do also send out then to the likes of our brand partners, L'Oreal Professional, to their academy, and they would get training and education there as well. But most of it, week to week, will be done in-house.
Okay, perfect. And let's say, right, someone wants to apply and become an apprentice stylist or hairdresser. What do you look for when you're screening like the CV? What qualities are you looking for?
So we wouldn't necessarily look for experience, because an awful lot of people coming in for an apprenticeship might have never done hairdressing before. Sometimes you would be getting people applying for like a second or a third year apprentice, which obviously we would then look at experience. So looking at someone that's coming in as a first year apprentice, you'd really look for an interest in hair, beauty, fashion.
Okay.
Another good thing to look for as well would be, say, if you have an interest in hairdressing, or you think you might want to do hairdressing when you finish school, we'd kind of look out for if the student or if the person would have had an opportunity to do work experience before. Okay. And if they did they go to a salon? Did they enjoy it? That would be a good indicator also for us that, okay, they've been in a salon environment before, they feel like they enjoy it, they'd like to continue that on. So I think it is an apprenticeship that an awful lot of people might kind of start.
Okay.
Do it for a couple of months, do it for a year, realise it's not as glamorous as everybody thinks it is, and then pull the legger.
Tough gig, all right. And is there educational requirements or age limits to like secure an apprenticeship with yourselves?
There wouldn't be, no. Just obviously legal working age. There wouldn't be any other requirements really. Like, again, coming into an apprenticeship as a first year, you wouldn't necessarily have anything. We obviously don't want anyone to finish school early if it's unnecessary. Or if they were looking at finishing school early, we'd kind of be like, look, is it really something you want to do? You can always finish school out and then come and apply for an apprenticeship. But we have had apprentices in that have finished school. It's just sometimes it's just not for them. And
that's just the way it goes sometimes.
They just want to get stuck in.
Yeah, I was one of those people when I had my apprenticeship. I think I was like scourged my man to really school early. But I really wanted to go to the army. I just took the apprenticeship because it was getting me out going to school. But I often wonder then, did I make the right choice, right? Because the apprenticeship's, it's a solid kind of thing to have behind you. And once someone then, they've applied for the job, right? You're taking them through to the next stage. What is the interview process like? How many stages of interviews are they going through before they're securing the job?
It can be pretty quick. Obviously, it would depend on, like, if we were advertising for a first-year apprentice, if we had a massive influx of applications and we were kind of interviewing, and after the first interview it went really well, if we had to whittle it down, we would hold second, third round interviews. We probably wouldn't regularly get to a third round interview. What we tend to do is get people in first round interviews, depending on how many kind of applicants we have that we'd like to take on. We'd then do a couple of hours of a trial in the salon. So we'd invite them in. It could be 2, 3, 4 hours. Just get them on the floor, give them a couple of tasks to do, see how they interact with the client, see how they interact with the staff. And I think that's normally a good indication on how someone will come in and kind of sit in with everybody, but also if it is something that they're really interested in.
And is there a main personality trait that, like, someone that's successful in the trade and securing the job, that you've noticed that they all have, or is everyone different?
No, I think we have a team of nearly 30 people, and no two are the same.
That's good. And then Sam, right? So I suppose, what's your background? Like, why did you decide?
So I finished school. I went to college for 3 years to be a chef in DIT.
Nice. Big difference.
Dropped out my final year. I was living over in Canada at the time, and I was just like, I can't do this anymore. So dropped out, came home from Canada, and I was like, what am I going to do? But I always knew I had an interest in hair. I've been doing it since as long as I can remember. My mom, sisters, predominantly had a female friend group, always practicing on them. So that's where, like, I kind of started to get into it. And then I was just working in a shop, and I was like, oh, this isn't for me personally. So I might as well try the other option. But I was almost a bit afraid to try the other option, because I was like, if that fails, what am I going to do then? Like I've tried the 2 options that I had whenever I was leaving school. So I went into it and absolutely loved it ever since. Here we are. 5 years later.
5 years, That's the next question. So are you qualified long then? Or?
I'm qualified 6 months now. I qualified in just the end of August, early September, I think it was. Because it was right before I went to my holidays. I started in...
Timed that well.
Started in 2019, worked for a year into COVID. 6 months off, 3 months on, a month off. You know, it was very, very staggered. So I felt from 2020 until I joined Dylan Bradshaw team that my training was kind of at a standstill. So that's when I kind of turned around to myself and I was like, look, I need a bit of a change. So that's when I seen online that they were hiring and went for it, and haven't looked back since.
Did Sean interview you, did he?
Sean, he did indeed. Do you remember that?
I do.
Was it a tough interview, or how was it?
Yeah, it was tough enough. I think they were just trying to really, really get me to understand how busy the salon was. Because I came from a salon that had 8 chairs to a salon that had 22 chairs on the floor.
Big difference, right?
Yeah, like 5 stylists in my previous salon to a team of 30. Like, it was a huge difference, and they could see that, like, because obviously I was telling them my background, so they just really wanted to tell me how different it was going to be. Because it is a completely different scale. Like,
and how did you find, like, your first day, like, on the job with Dylan Bradshaw? Like, what was it like?
I came in for a trade because I got the job on the basis that I was fully qualified in blow drying. So I came in for a trade test first with Sean. He went through my blow dry, and then they said I was well capable of blow drying on the floor. So for my first day, it was such a positive experience because I got to see all the other trainees and how they were working, because we have the whole floor to ourselves on the Monday from 10 to 5. We're working a full column as if we are a stylist. So we might have, if you're first starting off, you get 4 blow dries a day. You're moving on to your tints and your haircuts. You could have 2 tints, 2 haircuts a day. Like, so it was really, really positive experience for me. And then going to the floor, I felt a bit weird at the start. We are, like, very much encouraged to stand on the floor and observe. And if you need to be called, you will be called by a stylist. I just felt weird just standing there, kind of like, oh my god, what am I doing? It felt awkward at the start, but after time you do get used to it. And then, like, every now and again, like, if one of the stylists are doing a consultation, and it might be like, let's say if you're starting off, it's a very, very basic consultation that they're doing. They'll call you over, and then the more you work up, they'll know, because every stylist know exactly what level you're at.
Okay.
So they'll call you over for like other consultations, whether it be like a balayage or, you know, a short haircut, and they'll walk you through it. And then, so yeah, it was really, really good experience.
Okay, it's brilliant. And someone that has no experience, what's their first day like on the job? Like, what are they doing like day one?
So it kind of ranges pretty a lot. So someone coming in, if it's for the likes of a trial or it wouldn't necessarily be a trade test if they've no experience. It would be more of a trial. We'd get them in. We'd just see how they fit in with the guys. We'd get them to kind of maintain the floor, see if any of the clients need anything, whether it's a tea or coffee or water, whether they have a query with anything, helping them out. And that would kind of carry through for a first year apprentice coming in day one on the job. It will be very similar to what you'd be doing on your trial. So just making sure the place is maintained. Like I think an awful lot of people might refer to it as kind of, what could you say?
You're sweeping the floors.
Clean and like a cleaning job, stuff like that. It's more so that the salon floor is maintained and everything is where it should be for the stylists. Like, especially in Dylan Bradshaw, the stylists are so busy. We kind of need, in order for the day to run smoothly, it has to be well kept. Stuff has to be where it belongs. We have to be ready to look after a client straight away. We have to be ready to take the next in, check the previous client out, stuff like that. So I think the trainees' or the apprentices' day-to-day job on the salon floor would kind of involve the running of a salon.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, it ranges quite a lot.
And then the first qualification then that you get then when you become a stylist is the washing the hair and blow drying, is it?
Yeah, as an apprentice. So you'd come in, and the way we have our training structured would be, we have it broken down into say 7 different levels.
Okay.
And you work your way through them 7 levels over say the 4 years, but it could be a little bit shorter than the 4 years. It could be a little bit longer than the 4 years. It just depends. It just depends on the individual.
Depends on the individual, how quick they pick it up. Like,
so like level 1 would be like an introduction to hairdressing. It would be your health and safety. It would be kind of how to analyze the hair and the scalp. It would be then like your head massage and your hair products and stuff like that. So level 1 would be very basic, and we kind of try and work through that quickly so that they can actually get hands-on in their training. Level 2 would be the kind of the first step in hairdressing then. So it would be blow drying, shampooing, stuff like that. We do, no apprentice would go ahead and look after a client in Dylan Bradshaw where they haven't been signed off on their shampooing, they haven't been signed off on their head massage and stuff like that. So before they go to a client, they're fully signed off on everything.
Okay, so that's really good. So you get to practice then after work or before work, kind of on like different stylists that are in the
Oh God, the stylists do love it.
Free hairdo.
Emma Murphy.
You call her out now.
She won't appreciate that.
But like that, it's amazing whenever, like, if you are that much of a junior, when the stylist does turn around and be like, "Oh, that was a lovely head massage, or that was a great shampoo," you'll get more confident then. So then, whenever you are signed off to actually do the clients, it's a really nice feeling. Like then.
Yeah. Okay.
And this is what their Mondays are for. So like their Mondays are for education. So they get their models in, whether it's friends, family, classes, clients. They get people in and they get to try it hands-on themselves.
Yeah, which is
so they're doing that every Monday. It all depends. It could be for 3-4 weeks. It could be for 6 months. It just depends.
Yeah.
So they, like, when they do actually look after a Dylan Bradshaw client, they have experience doing it already, from their classes on a Monday.
And as well on the Mondays, if you've got like a more senior apprentice, you would ask the newer apprentice, "Oh, would you mind shampooing my lady for me?" And then if you're in the middle of doing a colour or something, let's say they were early, you were running behind, so they are dealing with an actual paying client in the Mondays as well.
Oh, okay. That's good. A bit more pressure there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But okay, that's good. And then, so once as you're moving through the different phases, right? Like, how did you find moving through the different phases? Like, did you learn by just like doing things constantly on the job? Were you looking at like YouTube videos on like how to mix different colors, or cut hair, like, or were you just kind of, you know,
like it
just
was
when someone's showing you?
mainly was concentrated in on the Mondays with our educator. We had a different educator on rotation each week.
Okay.
So they'd be sitting down, they'd be signing off. We've got like a golden folder, let's call it.
Yeah.
That's broken into the 7 steps, as Sean said. So like whenever you are, they'll do like a mini assessment, let's call it.
Right.
When you feel like you're ready to do a tint, and they'll sign you off. You won't do it. You won't go on to do a tint on the floor. You don't do any of that until you're qualified.
Yeah.
But let's say for the blow drying, there's different types of blow dries. Let's say if you got qualified to do a boho blow dry, that stylist knows, and then they'll tell management, and then management will know, oh, we can start booking clients on the floor for the boho blow dries or whatever blow dry like you can do.
Yeah.
So then you're kind of working your way up with a bit more responsibility.
Okay.
So like obviously that is like you get nervous and everything like that, but whenever you see the face of the client when they're happy, that's like there's no better payback
That's
for
the
that
best
then
feeling.
as well. Like so like it's nerve wracking, but you do just get there kind of thing.
How do you kind of, I know, right, so obviously my apprenticeship or whatever, we're always like, there's always a bit of messing going on, especially when I was in the army. But like, there's obviously a lot of pressure then when you're on the shop floor, right? So how do you guys deal with like taking the pressure off when you're upstairs or downstairs in the canteen? Is there a bit of messing?
Oh, absolutely, 100%. We it's probably one story that Dylan wouldn't love to hear. We're gone. We use single-use towels. They're compostable. They come with these big, massive boxes, and we always have to break them down, and then they get collected middle of the night after we just duct tape them all up. But we said to one of the girls that she'd go down and she'd break down the box, but we actually had one of the other apprentices in the box. So and then camera set up and everything, whenever she came down, boo, like scare and everything like that, sent it into the group chat then afterwards. But like, we are blessed with the amount of space that we have in the building, so we can do that where it's not affecting the salon floor. And then if we are on the salon floor, everything is strictly professional. Now you can have a chat, like I earlier when I was saying that we're encouraged to stand and watch. You can have a chat while you're there, but again, strictly professional. You know, not talking about what you're doing at the weekend, what your hair's like, blah blah blah. Like
you're entertaining the client probably more so than anything else. But yeah, that's good. And I suppose, would you recommend like someone becoming a stylist that has an interest in it?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, 100%. I would, if you are, let's say, 16 in school or you're in transition year and you think that you might do it, I would recommend reaching out to a salon and seeing if you could do work experience with them. And I would go that one step further and maybe reaching out to a salon in town as well, so you can get the feel of getting the bus to work. Like it's like all the small things. You know, you have to get up that small bit earlier. You have to get the bus in. You have to make sure you've got your leap card with you. All these responsibilities. So you're gonna take that on whenever you do get to the level of whenever you finish school, or if you drop out, you are starting to go to the job. Like
that was actually one of the questions I had for you, was like, were you moving around to different shops, or were you just based in the one shop for your whole time?
I worked in Leakslip. I was living in Leakslip and I worked there for like the year into COVID. Was on and off work for a while, and then I got the job with the salon, and I'm a bit later because I went to college. I'm a bit later in life. I was able to drive, and I got very lazy and I started driving. So I would very much recommend do not drive in because it's so bloody expensive. So I'm going to start trying to get the bus in 2 days a week. But I would recommend get the bus in. 100%.
And like some apprenticeships, you have to do like a shop run, get the tea, the coffee, people's like the stylist sandwiches or whatever. Did you have to do any of that kind of thing? Like,
it's not like just an apprentice job, if you get me. I'd like even for me, like now being a stylist, I'd walk downstairs, I'd see that I'm on my lunch, and I'd be like, oh, does anybody want anything? I'm running to the shop. So it's more of a general question rather than one specific job for the apprentice. Obviously the teas and coffees, like Sean was saying, we need to have the floor running fluidly, like everything needs to be on time, so we will generally do the teas and coffees. But now that we've got the barista the coffee, the stylist will ask, do you want tea or coffee? They'll go up to the barista, put through that order, go back, get started on whether it be highlights, haircut, tint, whatever, and then the barista or the apprentice will bring the coffee down to the, so it cuts that time in complete, like maybe like 3/4. Like it's amazing.
And you guys have the coffee shop downstairs. Is it just for the salon, or can anyone just off the street pop in?
So clients are very lucky. They now have barista-made coffees and teas and they've treats and stuff like that in there as well that they get as part of their appointment. So like their teas, their coffees, their beverages would be included in whatever they're in having done service wise. If they do want like pastries or treats or anything like that, that does come at additional charge. But it's nice to know you're coming in to get your hair done and you don't
have a nice coffee.
Yeah, it's
a nice
none of this instant stuff.
I'm not a fan, but but you get stuck. Grand. And then obviously, right, so you're qualified now. What's next then for you, like as a stylist? Like, is there different courses that you can do to upskill again? Or
oh god, yeah. Like we will always be learning. Like, you are a terrible stylist if you become the stylist and say, oh, I don't need to learn anymore. Like,
okay.
So we outsource a lot of our education as well, getting world-renowned stylists flown over and stuff like that. So I'll absolutely be going to them. I'm doing an artistry course on Monday, even though like that's not my working day. I'm going to come in and do a course. If I ever wanted to go back and do the colour masters through L'Oreal, I go back, I do 2 Colour Keys 1, Colour Keys 2, and then go on to do an 18-week.
Yeah, it's a couple of weeks. I don't know exactly off the top of my head, but
it's that mainly that one is designed for stylists who maybe 3 or 4 years qualified to go back and do a colour masters, more in-depth knowledge of like the hair, how the hair works, like.
And is that how you then become a trainer or a training facilitator? Or
so what we do, so we actually, we have a tiered system in Dylan Bradshaw. So when you're newly qualified, you qualify as a stylist. Or colourist. Generally speaking, stylist, you look after styling the hair and colouring the hair. So when you qualify from your apprenticeship, you qualify as a stylist. Then through continuous education, experience, stuff like that, you then go on to become a senior stylist. It really just depends on the amount of training that you put yourself through, and also then your experience on the salon floor, stuff like that. So from a senior stylist then you can then progress up to master stylist. So you can always upskill and progress within the salon, but like we would, as Sam said, if you're someone who turns around and said, that's it, I've learned it all, I don't need to learn anything else, you're not going to be a great stylist. You know, like it's a profession where you have to continuously educate yourself, upskill yourself. There's always new trends coming in. There's always new stuff that you can be learning.
Did you start? Was there many apprentices with you when you started? Like,
there were 7 of us.
7, okay.
Yeah, and then like 2 were like, we knew that we're going to be going on to qualify in the next year. And then I was maybe the next batch of the batch after that, and then there was maybe 2 apprentices underneath me as well, type of thing. Like, so it's kind of almost levels. Like a tiered system within, because obviously you're either 1st, 2nd, 3rd, or 4th year. So yeah, I think there was 7 of us altogether.
Okay. Did many people like fall off during your time as an apprentice?
Only 1, so I can remember. And even like the only reason he didn't continue his apprenticeship is because he actually wanted to just go more into barbering. He said, so he was saying within the fields, let's say. Whereas everyone else, like the 2 other girls qualified before me, then I qualified. Bobby is next to me, and then Layla, and then we've just been growing the apprentice team ever since.
I think we have been quite lucky with
absolutely,
with people coming in the door. Like they I think the majority of people have stayed with us through it, and
that's good.
You can tell when somebody wants it.
You
know, and once, if you want it, you just have to put in the work, and that's it.
Do you catch that at the Do you catch that at the interview stage?
An awful lot of the time,
like a week or 2 into the job?
Like an awful lot of the time, you'd catch it at the interview stage, and kind of say on their trial, like if they just want to get stuck in, get their hands dirty, they just want to know it all, they just want to start, like they want to. You can, especially when you take somebody on as an apprentice. And within, you kind of you talk them through how their training's going to go. you can then it's pretty soon after that you see the drive. They just want to get shampooing. They just want to start blow drying. They want to get their blow dries boxed off. They want to move on to colouring and cutting hair.
Okay. So they can progress as quick or slowly as they want.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think as well, like from my experience from being an apprenticeship in the salon, there's let's say 8 senior stylists on the floor. 4 of them trained with Dylan, and the other 4 came from other salons. So that's actually a huge number.
Yeah.
Probably be a lot more in our salon than other salons of people who trained there, worked there, progressed into be a senior stylist. In a couple of years, those 4 will probably progress on to be a master stylist as well. Like, so it's nice to see that like it's not just you can keep on going within the career. Like,
yeah, definitely, and it's good as well that you're getting so many through as well. Like, because some guys get apprenticeships and they fall off. Like, straight away. They just decide it's not for them, which happens, and they don't understand like the commitment that's involved.
That's it. Yeah. No, it's like it is great, and we want to train our apprentices to be the best in the business, and we don't want to train our apprentices to then qualify them and send them off to get a job somewhere else. Like, we want to train our apprentices to the standard that we like to offer, and we like to keep them. Like, so we are very lucky. We've had Sam and Jody and Lauren qualify within the last 3 years, and thankfully all 3 of them.
Okay, still there.
Yeah, they worked through their apprenticeship with us, and we still have the 3 of them with us. So.
That's really good. So, what finally then, right? So I won't keep you too much longer. But what advice would you give someone, going into like a stylist apprenticeship? Like, what?
Like I was saying earlier, if you have any inkling that you want to do it when you're like from a younger age, I would go down to your local hairdressers, or like I said, into town, and maybe ask, could you do, like, everywhere is looking for a Saturday boy or girl, let's say. It's usually the word Saturday girl, but like a Saturday person, let's say, to be there to do the shampoos, to do the teas and coffees, to run out if anything needs to be done. And like at the same time, at that age, it's amazing to be getting like €40 a week, like, and we'll still be in school at the same time. Like, so
times have changed massively. I remember, I think I fell into hair. I was a hairdresser, and then I went into management, but I completely fell into it. It was never something on my radar, and it was, again, I was in school just looking for a part-time job, and I fell into it and loved it, and I've never left the industry, and that was 12 years ago.
How do you find, like, do you prefer management now to being on the shop floor, or are you still probably getting exposed to both?
I know, I do love it.
Yeah.
There's a couple of days where on like the Mondays you'll see a hairdryer in Sean's hand. Don't look, you'll turn into stone. Like,
I know, I do. Like, I think because I do look after the apprenticeship program in Dylan Bradshaw, so because I'm still involved with education, and I would take on a few education days with the guys, that I'm still, I keep my finger in it, so I don't have the opportunity to miss it.
Okay.
But no, I love what I do.
Okay, that's brilliant. Did you finish school then before you kind of went into your apprenticeship?
Yeah, there was a few, like, I'd say I tried it with my parents once or twice. Could I drop out of school? But they were just, both my parents worked for a college, so they would always like, no, finish school and try go to college and stuff like that. But when they seen how much I loved what I was doing before I left school, they were like, no, look, let them. Yeah, absolutely. And never looked back. Yeah, loved it. Did
any of you feel like there was a bit of a stigma around taking an apprenticeship?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I wouldn't, I don't know if that's actually fair to say. Like, there is genuinely, it's not really talked about in school as much. When I was in school, many moons ago, it was never really an option, if you get me. Like, we were in our career guidance class or whatever, we were never really told about it. Whereas we were always told about, like, going to college or PLC courses, how to get into college, the back door, let's say. And then whenever I was like at the age where I was filling out my CAO, like, all my friends were going to college. You know, and then my parents were saying, oh, you're going to go to college and blah, blah, blah. When you get to college, it was never talked about doing anything else. So I think I was influenced by everyone else around me. Whereas I would have, not that it's a huge regret. I don't really like to say that I regret things. But looking back, it would have probably been so much better for my career if I had just went straight into hairdressing. Like I qualified when I was 26, so generally speaking, that'd probably be above average of people qualifying.
Yeah.
Now you still can do it. Like I've done the tail, like so.
Yeah. Well, I've actually had guys in here that I interviewed there. They started their apprenticeship at 24, but then moved into like management positions pretty quick, like on site management. Also, it's good to know that like, you can start a little bit.
There's
later.
always plus sides about it because whenever I go out onto the floor and I meet a client for the first time, they're like, "Oh, you must have qualified years ago," and I'm like, "No, like last year."
A bit more confidence.
Because they see me and then like I have a beard and everything, so they're like, "Oh yeah, he's much older. Like he's obviously qualified a good couple of years." Like.
Yeah, I think it's. I do definitely think it's improved.
Yeah.
In recent years, I do think an awful lot more people are kind of looking at a trade as something that it's more. How would I put it? Like, it's definitely a reliable profession to go into. Like I think. With the recession a few years ago and stuff like that, people really realised that, like, you always need hairdressers. You'll do what you can to make sure you can continue to go to the hairdressers. You'll always need a plumber. You'll always need an electrician, stuff like that. So I think the stigma around it might not be as much as it was, but I think there still might be a little bit.
Yeah. Okay.
I think with the everyone emigrating in this country as well, there's all our trades are so valuable around the world. They'll always need a plumber, always need an electrician, bricklayers over in Australia, hairdressers over there. Like it is.
Yeah. There's actually like YouTube ads like from like New Zealand of them advertising for like trades to go live there. Like it's crazy.
100%.
So it is good that like we're recognised worldwide.
Definitely.
Just one more thing then, like the working hours, right? So. What are the working hours that you work like in the salon? Like, is it Monday to Friday, 9 to 5? Are you working Saturdays? Are you working late evenings, early mornings?
I do Tuesday 9 to 6, Wednesday 9 to 9, Thursday 9 to 9, and then Saturday 9 to 6. So what's that 5-day?
So what we did it. Was it 2 years? It's 2 year and a half, 2 years ago now. We introduced a 4-day working week.
Okay, nice.
But it's still your full-time hours condensed into your 4 days. So we open late on a Wednesday and a Thursday. So in order to get your full-time working hours into 4 days, you have to do the 12 hours on a Wednesday and a Thursday, which means then you alternate a Tuesday and a Friday off because we have everybody in on a Saturday. So we do actually have our apprentices on that as well on the 4-day working week, but their Monday then would be on top of that. So their Monday education would be that's separate to their working hours.
Which is fair enough, right? Because that's where you're learning your trade, right? So
and that's part of the reason why we wanted to implement the 4-day working week as well. It means the likes of the apprentices who are doing full time in the salon plus a day of education. It means they still get their 2 days off each week.
And look, it's a small investment that the individual has to pay to get the trade right. And
I think it's amazing doing a full day of education though, not just the 3 or 4 hours after the work day. You're exhausted by the time you get to that as well. Whereas if you do a full day, you can have multiple clients in and you really get a feel of what it's like being a stylist on the floor.
Yeah, it's
running a column and having clients coming in after.
It actually sounds like a really good concept. Like to have a whole day just dedicated to
it's an awful lot. The way we used to do it was a Monday and a Tuesday evening after a day's work, and as well if you weren't working that day, you would have to then come in from 6 until 9 and do education. So by the time you get to 6 o'clock in the evening after doing a full day's work, it's hard. It is full on doing your training. So having to do a full day's work and then go into your training, it's a lot. And it is tiring, and I personally don't think you can take as much information in after doing a full day's work. So the fact that they do have the full day on a Monday, they come in fresh faced on a Monday and start their education. They're probably exhausted after.
Or hungover.
But, no, we don't have any of that.
No, any drinks. But no, it's probably good, right, that you get the whole day as well, because at least the facilitator as well is not probably rushing out the door then that night to go home as well. So you get that 100% attention.
They know they're coming in to do a full day of teaching.
That's it. Do you guys have anything else for me, or are you happy enough?
No, I think I'm all good.
Okay, brilliant.